Hey YouTube, how you doing? Just a couple of thoughts. Throwing this video out on the cuff, whatever you want to call it. um, so I have nothing, no scriptures to share or any notes to prepare. It's just a couple of things I'm going to just something I want to share on my mind. That's it. And maybe some of you can answer the question or questions. Okay. Um, all right. It has to do with the deity of Christ. Now, Christians claim that the Christ is God for one reason, that he is sinless, and they will use a couple of scriptures for that. Also, is the belief that there's original sin. Everyone's a sinner. Everyone falls short. There's the sin nature and the such. Here is what I'd like for you to think about, clarify for me. And maybe you thought about it already. Jesus was supposedly born of a virgin. Now, if everyone is a sinner, Mary would have to be a sinner as well. Though I know there's the Catholic claim that she was sinless as well. How do they logically come about this? I don't know. But just because someone's a virgin doesn't mean they can't commit some other sin. So, if she is a sinner as well, and Jesus is born of that womb, we know, scientifically, without a doubt, that a person shares DNA and their genes from both the mother and the father. So even if Joseph wasn't involved, he was born of the flesh of Mary. He had to, in his flesh, have some of her DNA, some of her genes, some of her makeup, alright, within his body, which would make him partly carrying on that sinful nature. And it kind of makes me question about this whole original sin idea. Could it be this way? Instead of original sin, I think this thought is out there, and maybe it's in a Gnostic teaching or something, that man is not born into original sin, but it becomes a learned behavior from his environment, what the such, and then they begin to sin, break commandments, stuff like that. So is it possible that someone can live a righteous life from birth, brought up in such a way that they don't, on the outside, don't sin, don't break the 10 Commandments? I think it's quite possible that one cannot break the 10 Commandments for a very long period of time. And I know Christians will say it's the attitude of the heart. It's inside. We got this sinful nature dwelt inside of us since we're born. Jesus speaks about just being angry with someone and you've committed murder. Looking at a woman lustfully is just as bad as committing adultery. And that our heart is terribly wicked. Could there be an alternative that someone can choose to do right things? That Jesus chose to do right things. Because if the idea of original sin, if we take that upon, then Mary had to be a sinner as well. And Jesus sharing the same part of that DNA and those genes and the chromosomes and all the science that goes with it, had to share part of Mary's attributes and have been a sinner, or had sin in him. And I'm sure this idea, or this question, upsets a lot of you, because Right? God cannot sin. So I'm throwing this idea out to you. Let me know if you can give an explanation. Not just using Bible verses, okay? Um, some other maybe explanation besides. Okay, because remember, the scientific knowledge was very limited then. And in my belief, especially when it comes to the how I see it with the virgin birth, I think Matthew embellished a lot. Took Old Testament prophecies and took them out of context, especially when you look at the virgin birth and prophecies of Emmanuel and stuff like that, to kind of create this messianic figure. I hate to say it. So I think that Matthew embellished upon the Old Testament scriptures to do that. And you know what? People do that now. They take parts of text, and we complain about them all the time about people being false prophets because they take text out of context, which makes a pretext, to develop a whole other doctrine. So what's to say that Matthew didn't do that with the Old Testament, when we clearly see that things are taken out of context? Alright, that's enough of my Jesus rant. I look forward to your responses, hopefully video responses. I would like to have, video responses. Take care, YouTube.